ultimately going to have to go up the court system to the Supreme Court. Because even after the first executive order was written, the administration went back and tried to make it even more specific, and that's still not good enough for the liberals who try to legislate from the bench. So, a legal battle is on. Now, I heard an interesting description of this fight by someone this morning who said it boils down to President Trump and this administration are interested in security, whereas the Democrats and the liberals keep killing it because they think it's an act of compassion. I think we ought to protect ourselves first, especially when the Justice Department, when the AG, Attorney General's office, has stated that because of many refugees coming into this country, they know of 300 on their terrorist watch list that have already snuck in. Security first. That's not being incompassionate. But it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, and that means it's going to take some time. And, I hope not one of these terrorists who snuck in through the refugee program hurts an American citizen. Because if they do, it's going to make the Democrats who keep fighting this and the liberals who keep fighting this look really, 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 really bad. The other thing is markups are set to begin on President Trump's budget for 2018. Remember, his budget is just a blueprint, starting point, a strategic platform, because they have a lot of work to do to get down to the nitty-gritty. Gritty, not greedy. Was that a Freudian slip, Shane B? Nitty-gritty.
Oh, you Republicans, you're all the same. You're all from the same swamp.
Yeah, right. Here's something else that's happening now that many people may not see the immediate impact, and that is what the Federal Reserve has done. It turns out that, according to Janet Yellen, the Federal Reserve Board chair, they announced an interest rate increase yesterday.
Today, the Federal Open Market Committee decided to raise the target range for the federal funds rate by 1/4 percentage point, bringing it to 3/4 to 1%.
So, now, I will admit that I didn't think that they would do it this quick this year. I was wrong. On the other hand, that 1/4 percentage point is not going to be a huge ripple effect in this economy. What will happen is that 1/4 point that's being raised by the Federal Reserve being passed on to your bank, if you're looking for a new loan, is going to add a 1/4 percentage point at least to whatever new loan you have to get. And because it's still around 1%, it's not going to cause a major slowdown in any sector of the economy. One newspaper publication was already crying that the sky is falling and it's going to kill the housing market. No, it's not. Not a 1/4 percentage point. And she goes on to say that the economy is strong enough to withstand a rate increase.
The committee judged that a modest increase in the federal funds rate is appropriate in light of the economy's solid progress toward our goals of maximum employment and price stability.
And that's what they're trying to do. But as I've mentioned on this show before, my beef is with them thinking that moving the interest rate can control employment and price stability. When I was on the board of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City back in the 90s, we didn't have to worry about both of those. And at the time, I did not know that we had that dual charter because we didn't have to worry about a high unemployment rate. It was always very low, almost what they call virtual full employment. We worried about keeping inflation in check. We worried about the economy growing too much. It can grow too much and too fast and cause a lot of inflation, and that should be their primary charter, and that should be their primary aim. And if we remain focused on the positive tone from the top, as I've talked about, we will be able to help create a better America.
A better America.
It's been a little over 50 days since my inauguration. We have done far more, I think maybe more than anybody's done in this office in 50 days, that I can tell you.
Herman Cain's connected, unfiltered perspective every day.
Now, obviously, Democrats aren't going to agree with that because many of the Democrats and the liberals are doing everything that they can to stop or slow down or destroy this administration. But because the American people are not stupid, it's not working. Some other things that are happening. The Senate has confirmed President Trump's choice for National Intelligence Director. Senators voted 85-12. Woo, that's a shocker. To approve the nomination of former Indiana Senator Dan Coats, making him the fifth person to hold the post created after the September 11 attacks. He replaces James Clapper, who retired at the end of the Obama administration. I happen to think that's a good move. And for you to get 85 senators to confirm him, it says that they have a lot of confidence in him because many of them know him from having been a senator. Good move. Maybe he can clean up some of the mess that's over there in the whole intelligence thing. Army Secretary. The Trump administration is strongly considering Tennessee State Senator Mark Green for Army Secretary after President Trump's original pick, backed out nearly 6 weeks ago. Well, the good news is they're continuing to try to fill these positions. And even though the Democrats are slow walking them, the ones that don't back out, the administration is moving on in spite of it. A poll about American Health Care Act. Be careful about these polls, folks. You know from experience during the primary and the presidential election that you can't always trust these polls. There's a poll that came out that said that over 50% of the people really favor keeping Obamacare and not the Republican plan. I just don't believe that. Just like I had to declare that some of those other polls I didn't believe. And I was right. They're trying to give the people the perception that Americans want to keep their Unaffordable Care Act. Let me break the numbers down to you again, in case you missed it. That segment is for tomorrow, but this is an in case you missed it moment, Shani B. He's on his A game today, folks. I talked about this yesterday. Back in prior to 2016, now let me get my years right, prior to 2015, the previous administration predicted through the CBO that 24 million people would get health insurance in 2015. They only got 12 million, 50%. They also predicted that in 2016 that 26 million people would sign up for the Unaffordable Care Act. They only got 11 million. Still greater than the 50% miss. What business do you know of would still be in business if they were missing their projections by 50%? None. Now, the real numbers are closer to 7 million people, and most of them are on Medicaid. How did I get to 7 million? The CBO says 14 million people are going to lose their health insurance under the Republican plan. And since they have a track record of being off by 50%, that means that maybe 7 million people will lose their health insurance. A large percentage of them are already on Medicaid. So you're only talking about 2% of the population out of 320 million people. I'm not saying that health insurance for them is not important, but it is not a crisis. And as Secretary Tom Price pointed out, the CBO did not consider the entire plan. They didn't consider the entire plan. I'm trying to get to that soundbite, Shane B, so we can play it again.
We'll just play it. That's cut 22.
Hit it!
What the CBO looked at was just 1/3 of the plan. Looked at just the bill that's going through Congress right now. And that's not because they're doing a bad job. That's because that's what they were asked to look at, and that's all they could look at because of the rules. The fact of the matter, it is this bill that's currently going through Congress, and then it's a portion that we can do at the Department of Health and Human Services. All those rules and regulations that the American people know about that happened in the previous administration, hundreds of them, literally, and then thousands of guidance letters, which in fact have kind of the same authority as a rule. All of those were done through the Department of Health and Human Services, and we're going to look at every single one of those to see whether or not they help patients or hurt patients. If they hurt patients, they need to go away. If they drive up costs or drive down costs. If they drive up costs, then they need to go away. And then there's a third phase, which is more legislation that can't be done in the reconciliation of the budget bill, so including things like medical malpractice reform and purchase across state lines. So what the CBO did was look at just a portion of the plan itself.
A portion of the plan itself. So, folks, don't get all in a twitch about all of the confusion and all of the negativity that the liberals and the Democrats are throwing out there to confuse you. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
When you're listening to Herman Cain, you won't miss any breaking news, and you'll never miss out on a single solution for a better America.
Yes.
Okay. Now that's the raw copy there, Herman. There's no edits to it.
Okay.
Not his brackets, but the email from USA Today. Brackets, damn good though. We're not talking about your brackets. I'm pretty proud of it.
Oh.
You best believe that USC team is underrated. Nobody's talking about how good that USC team is.
Now, what I find interesting is you have Villanova and North Carolina in the final matchup.
I do.
I placed a bet on Villanova, you know.
Yeah, you were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a strong bet. I just feel like typically when teams rematch,
Yeah.
the other team wins.
Was it those two teams last year?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
But Carolina's a wild card. I mean, they're a little streaky.
This is interesting. This will be helpful to sort of follow the progression.
Please don't base my paycheck off it, please.
We won't do that to you.
Oh, and that USA Today article too, Herman. It actually has that bracket. Get ready to pay more in the actual headline.
This is the story of Mrs. Clark, who has lived on this very block most of her 80 years, often seen walking to town or serving brownies to the neighborhood kids, and everyone loves her. 2 years ago, a certain family member moved in to look after Mrs.
I'm hacking it. Oh, you're walking away anyway.
Hey, Jared. It took over my computer. Hijacked it. The what? That's one of those streamers. All right. Jared. Jared.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, man?
Let's use the USA Today story as a follow-up for tomorrow.
A follow-up?
Yeah, put it in for tomorrow.
Okay, I can do that.
Yep. Another scare tactic. Get ready to pay more.
That bracket is actually in the headline, too.
I see it.
None of that, again, that's completely unedited.
Okay. Include it tomorrow. I get sick of so much negativity. Mortgages, more on mortgage rates, auto loans, credit cards, bank savings rates. Good Lord.
Take the first step. Visit www.ncpc.org/mortgagefraud. That's ncpc.org/mortgagefraud. This message is from the National Crime Prevention Council.
So, Jared, do the games start at 12 o'clock today?
Yes, sir. Finish that bracket. 12 o'clock.
All right.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Because we want you to be better informed. Better informed, yes. Let's see. Ashley, who would you recommend from this illustrious list of callers first?
Jim.
All right. Jim, you just got voted first up. What's on your mind, Jim, on the Herman Cain Show?
Shucky Ducky Herman Cain.
Shucky Ducky, Jim.
Hey, my friends, listen, I've been listening to this whole mess here. We got roughly 320 million people in the U.S.
Right.
And the CBO is worried to death about 14 million.
Right.
And we're not even finished with the bill. What about the 305 million that have a piece of junk insurance plan? I had a Cadillac before Nancy Pelosi and her gang bombed me with that nonsense that I got now.
Yep.
And it's just, I mean, somewhere in between Medicaid and get the government out of it, period.
And that's my point, Jim. You have answered the question. The more you get government out of it, the better it is for all 320 million people. The problem with Obamacare, Unaffordable Care Act, is that it was too much government in it, too many taxes in it, too many penalties in it, and all of this kind of stuff. So you're absolutely right. A lot of people now have junk health insurance. I like that terminology because the deductibles are too high, the premiums are too high. You either can't afford them, or by the time you try to pay $5,000 in deductible, you essentially don't have any insurance. So the Republican plan, despite all of the negativity by the Democrats, is on the right path, in my humble opinion. And I read the summary of the plan. I know they're going to be changing a lot of stuff, but you got a lot of people out there that are reacting to the scare tactics of the liberals. Don't be scared, y'all. We're going to tell you the truth. More wall-to-wall calls when I come back. Hmm. Did she make one earlier also of a boy?
There are probably rules on when to move up to a
All right, you still there, Herman?
I am.
All right. I'm going to assume.
I'm gonna read that on there. Yeah, that's good.
I'm stepping away.
Yeah. Okay. Can I go?
Yeah, we're in about the hour here.
Okay. It happens. I get inspired in a different direction. Bernita, that is a very nice remark. Thank you. I'm going to share that with the listeners, time permitting. Hey, Shane.
Yep.
Is Pete in the office or working from home?
I think he's here today.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know if you have sound on your computer. Let's see. I'm hacking it again.
Oh, I have it on all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it up for a second. I'm going to play you something. You're not going to hear it in your headphones. It's going to come from your computer. I thought they did a very nice job on this.
Yesterday was WSB's birthday. I was watching that game. That's cool. What was Munson's great phrase? Hobnail boot on his neck?
Crushed their face or something. Broke his nose.
So what?
Hobnail boot and broke their nose.
Oh. That's good.
Yeah.
You had both sounds going at the same time.
I had both sounds.
Yeah. But I got a chance. I got the gist. That was good. Good. I'm going to give a shout out for WSB since I forgot yesterday. Is that video available on the website?
That's a Facebook video.
For WSB?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd wait till tomorrow because tomorrow is the party that I thought was yesterday. I'm assuming we're doing GPS.
Yeah.
Herman Cain's vast experience can help you achieve your own personal success. This is your GPS, Guiding Principles of Success.
Guiding Principles to Success. Our weekly segment. And let's start with some success with one of our listeners. This comes from Vernita. Thank you, Vernita. Let me read to you exactly what she posted, folks. She says, "Good morning. This presidency has blessed me tremendously. I was walking around just voting Democrat because I was told that just what black folk do. I began to listen for facts, and Mr. Cain have them." And she goes on to write further down, "To be lifted out of total ignorance is so freeing. I know what it is now to be part of America." Thanks, Bernita. That's what we call success, folks. And thank you, Vernita, for expressing how this show has impacted you. You probably represent a lot of people that feel the same way. One of the most frequent comments I get from people when I travel mirrors just what you said, and that is knowing the truth, knowing the facts, to the best of our knowledge to present to them to you. Because having the right facts truly is a key to success. Whether you're talking about how you vote or whether you talk about how you run your business. And let's talk today doing GPS about running your business and what you should be excited about and what you should not overreact to. How about that, Ashley? for a spontaneous topic.
What about the Fed? I thought that's what we were going to talk about.
Well, I'm going to start with the Fed.
Okay.
The first thing not to overreact to. She's getting ahead of me, folks. I know where I'm going with this. Ashley normally joins me during this segment each week when we have callers. And by the way, if you have a question concerning the topic about running your business, when to not overreact and when to get excited. So give us a call, 877-310-2100 for this section of GPS. Let's start with the latest news about the Federal Reserve. Janet Yellen, Federal Reserve Board Chair, announced an interest rate increase. So it now is going to be a full 1%. And my message to businesses, don't overreact. They moved it a quarter of a percentage point. Now, the reason that they moved it a quarter of a percentage point is because the Federal Reserve Board believes that it is time to tweak it a little bit before the economy overheats. Now, I have said consistently, we don't have to worry about this economy overheating yet. But what the Federal Reserve has done is that they've taken the positive tone from the top and what that has done ripple effect wise and took it as an opportunity to move the interest rate up a little bit. Now, the reason I say for businesses not to overreact, it's short-term impact on you. Now, if you are a business and you have a line of credit, you might be impacted by that quarter of a percent, depending upon the bank that you're dealing with and depending upon the agreement that you have with them. If you locked in your line of credit, and most businesses have a line of credit because of the cyclicality of their business and their cash flow, then you might end up seeing a quarter of a percent increase. But with some banks, you may not. So managing your cash, the impact of interest rates right now is no cause, that is, the interest rate increase is no cause for great overreaction. Now, here's an interesting aspect of success in a business that I discovered recently when I took a few days off. I was sitting next to a lady who is a founder and principal in a bank. I will not mention the bank. It's not one of the normal big banks that you normally hear about. But I had heard about the bank, and we were talking about how many miles we each fly. Believe it or not, I am a platinum million miler. And when I was checking into the airport on Tuesday morning, the attendant saw it and go, "Wow, Mr. Cain, thank you for being a platinum million miler." I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "That means you practically been living on an airplane." I said, "Probably for a long time, because I do travel a lot on Delta." Then I'm flying back, and the lady sitting next to me, I said, I don't know how it came up. I said, I'm a platinum million mile, or whatever that means. I said, "Is there a category ahead of that?" She said, "Yes." I said, "What?" She said, "Diamond." I said, "What are you?" She said, "Diamond." I said, "You have been sleeping on an airplane." She's a diamond flyer. And I ask, what causes you to have to travel so much? I know I travel a lot. And I said, "What causes you to have to travel so much?" She said, her bank is unique in that they believe in calling on personally every customer at least once a year. I said, "What?" She said, "We have customers in every state." What? And one of the principals will visit them at least once a year. That's why I travel so much. I said, "Well, what kind of banking business are you in?" "Business loans." They're only in business loans. I said, allow me to make a conjecture here. I said, "You probably don't lose a lot of customers." She said, "That's correct." because of that customer service attention. Many of you heard me talk about this many times before about the importance of service. Not just adequate service, but service that exceeds the expectations of your customers is the key to building your business, is the key to keeping your business. That is one of the biggest guiding principles to success. And they built their business model around service. And here's another thing that she shared with me about her company. If you look at, and I asked, because I was curious, what approximately is your annual gross revenue? Banks measure it based upon, loans out and whatever, but they just measure it in a different way. And she told me what the number was. And then she said, now compare that to another very large bank, and their revenue isn't that much bigger than theirs. As it turns out, the really, really bigger bank that all of you all know, which is a household name, has slightly more in terms of gross revenue, and they have over 3,000 employees nationwide. I said, well, how many do you all have? She said, a little over 400 nationwide. Service can help you fix or improve a lot of things in your business. That's the guiding principle to success today, folks. Don't underestimate it. After I got back into town, to give you an example of just the opposite, my friend and I went through a drive-through of a very well-known quick service restaurant. I will not mention the one it is, because I had a taste for this particular burger. It was a burger place. First, we get to the drive-through window, and the person on the other end says, "Get your hold on for a moment, please." I said, what did he say? I think he was saying hold for a moment. While we were sitting there, 1, 2, 3 cars pulled up behind us. I said, Joel, they're not having a good day. Because we sat there while the line of cars started to build up. He finally came back and asked, well, what did you order? We placed the order for a Whopper with cheese. We placed the order for a Whopper with mustard ketchup on it and some fries. Drove around to the window. And when we got around to the window, the car that was in front of us 3 minutes ago was still there. I said, Joel, they're not having a good day. Not having a good day. We got to the window, and we still had to wait. We waited and waited a little. He finally brought the food out. I looked and checked. It was the right food. Paid him. He gave us the change back and never said thank you. That has got to be the cardinal sin of service. Never saying thank you. You know how this lady, her first name is Kay. You know how this lady says thank you to her customers? They visit every one of them at least once a year. So my message to you today, folks, take a look at the customers you now have. What can you do to exceed their expectations relative to service, to make sure, first, that you don't lose them, and secondly, you may have an opportunity to gain new ones. Service, the secret ingredient to business success. You are listening to the Herman Cain Show.
He's been there. He's done that. And he wants to give you the insight and the advantage. Herman Cain, solutions for a better America.
How was that for pulling it out of my anchovies?
Excellent. Excellent anchovies.
So what? I did say Whopper. Oh, okay. Yeah. It was Burger King. They're busted. Yeah, I said Whopper. It was Burger King. It was some of the worst Burger King service I had ever seen. It was awful. It was awful. That was called MUST.
We must.
Do you know what that acronym is, Jared?
I think I have an not streaming, are we?
Yes, we are.
Oh boy. The stream isn't regulated by the FCC yet.
I forgot what Shandy B said the T was for.
Today.
Oh, today.
It's because you were off, Jared, and I said, Jared's not here today, so if you need any research, today we must.
Make up stuff today.
The word shit.
That whole segment was spontaneous, folks, but it was based upon actual experiences.
You're trying to shift the subject away from my bad language.
I know I'm not. Yes, I am. But that was a true story. That lady told me that, and I was absolutely floored. They visit every customer. That's pretty cool. So did Ashley enjoy that, or did she fall asleep?
Ashley's.
The calls have been a little rather frustrating. Yeah, I didn't really know where we were going with that, so I did not. Yeah, the caller's like.
So your assignment for next week, Ashley, is try to think of some broad topics.
Well, it'd be helpful to talk about them before we do that segment.
Okay.
Because we didn't talk at all. So
I know.
I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but I didn't know where we were going.
And I didn't know where I was going either. But now, let's talk about them ahead of time, and maybe, you can dig up a few stats and this sort of thing.
But, okay. All right, guys, I'm going to go jump ship, so.
Thanks, Jared.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember to fill out your brackets. You got an hour.
I'm going to go with yours.
Hey, man. Iowa State is my wild card.
I like yours. I'm just going to use yours to follow along to see how they're moving through the system. I hope Villanova makes it to the final.
I hope so, too.
Not because I could win some money.
Well, hold on now.
Hey, I tell you what, Jared. If it ends up Villanova, North Carolina, we have to place a little wager.
I'm down.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to do that? The last time we placed a wager, you owed me some bourbon.
Well, you got to come down here to collect it. Have a good one, man. Thanks.
All right, guys.
All right, have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Actually, I saw a bunch of calls, but they weren't any good.
They all hung up.
Oh.
You had 5, and they all hung up.
Okay. Okay.
Through its committee, the Republican plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. So basically, this is the GOP plan clearing one of the hurdles, moving closer to a full vote on the timeline, basically, that Paul Ryan wants it to be on. So what was the vote? 19 to 17. 3 Republicans voting no. If you watched this program yesterday, we talked about only 4 Republicans could end up defecting, so it's not as though this was necessarily a slam dunk. I want to bring in now our Capitol Hill
They're
Queen.
going to shoot themselves in the foot over this thing. They are going to shoot themselves in the foot. Okay.
A likely excuse. Look at this. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll close with this fake news story, the McDonald's story. I will. I'll close with that. I'll save the breaking news story until tomorrow. I want to know who these Republicans are so I can sick their people on them. I want to know who they are so I can throw them under the bus. Thanks, streamers. One more segment.
Anytime. Welcome
back to the Herman Cain Show. One of the things that we've talked a lot about, and we continue to talk a lot about, and we will continue to talk a lot about, is giving you the facts and giving you the truth. Trying to give you propaganda alerts. Propaganda alerts.
Well, I thought that first time it was in quotation marks. Kind of like wiretap.
What was that other one that the guy said? Junk alert?
Something like that.
Something like that. But we're going to stick with propaganda alert. Listen to this tweet where McDonald's Corporation's Twitter account was compromised. It says, at Real Donald Trump, you are actually a disgusting excuse of a president, and we would love to have at Barack Obama back. Also, you have tiny hands. Now, that was on the McDonald's Twitter account. Quickly after it was discovered, McDonald's retweeted this. Twitter notified us that our account was compromised. We deleted the tweet, secured our account, and are now investigating this. So, folks, it underscores something that I have said many, many times. You can't always believe everything. But here's a bigger message here. If you work for a company, you don't have the right to put your personal insulting opinion on your company's Twitter account, website, or Facebook account. You have every right to put it on your own, but not on the company's one. And so I'm glad that Twitter caught it and notified McDonald's right away, and they took it down. Now they're going to investigate to see if they can try and find out who posted that. The Russians. That's right. Let's blame the Russians for this. The Democrats blame them for everything else. Here's my point, folks. If that person works for McDonald's, they will probably have to go to breakfast. They'll be fired.
And they can have breakfast anytime with that.
That's right. They have breakfast at McDonald's 24 hours a day.
They don't have to wait till morning.
If you get a call and you work for McDonald's and somebody wants to take you to breakfast at McDonald's, bring your things with you, please. Folks, you have a right to your own opinion, but you don't have a right to your own facts. You have a right to share your opinion, but you don't have a right to hijack someone else's sources. This is why we encourage you to listen to this program. This is why we encourage you to go to hermancain.com. And this is why we encourage you to go to our Facebook page, where we have numerous articles that you can read so you can stay better informed. That's what we do. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show. I'm your host, Herman Cain. And yes, I don't think we have any breakfast candidates on this team, Shana B.
Oh, thank God. And to ensure that, we're going to change the Herman Cain password to Twitter and Facebook.
We're changing the passwords as we speak. I'm your host, Herman Cain. Thanks, streamers. Thanks, Dorita. What is it, Verita? Verita, thank you. Great comment. Great inspiration. I appreciate it. That was a good ending, humorous segment.
Yeah, today was a very good show.
Yeah.
That doesn't give you license to suck tomorrow.